Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mellissa Thomas with Florida National News. And of course, I am joined by our co-host, Ms. Angel Perry, who's the Executive Vice President of the Communications Workers of America, Local 3108. Angel, how's it going?
It is going great. How are you, Mellissa?
Doing good, doing good. All right, y'all. So we are diving into critical race theory because, Lord have mercy, like it has been quite a conversation. So we want to make sure you guys know how we are here at Let's Clarify. We want to make sure to move all of the smoke screen away, move all the talking points away, and give you guys the actual facts behind critical race theory. So Angel, take it away. Let's break it down.
So, the grandfather movement of critical race theory was born out of Harvard Law School by Professor Derek Bell, who in the mid 70s voiced frustration at the limited impact of landmark civil rights laws. Okay. So, for whatever reason, what he saw when those federal laws were enacted and how they played out in the community, he felt they didn't go far enough. So he started to deep dive on how these different laws affected people across the board. So literally, just to give an understanding, because I'm originally from New York. So in the 80s, if everybody remember, it came from Reagan, which, the war on drugs was like his key mantra. We have to clean up our streets, all this crime. But what's little known is the fallout of these laws. Some of them which our president, the 46th president, had helped pass. But this is an example of one, and this is a real thing you can research and Google. So we have the chemical compound, cocaine, which everybody knows is from a plant, in other countries in the South, way far South, in South America. And it's refined, and you can have a powder version, which is, snow or whatever it's called now. I have no idea. Or you could have crack, which is a rock compound that you would burn in a pipe or on a spoon, and you would smoke from burning that rock. Now, what was made available in communities, and we're just talking about drug distribution, affluent and wealthy drug addicts would have cocaine, which is the powder that you would sniff on your nose. They call it nose candy or whatever.
Yep.
And then you had the rock cocaine, which with smoke was made more available in low income and neighborhoods of color. It was very cheap, easy to make, so it didn't cost as much. So you had cultural differences between affluent people that had, very expensive cars and mansions and parties, and, you had, whatever Hollywood or whatever you wanted to call it. All of those that came with money dealt with the powder version of the very same chemical compound. Now, what derived out of that is they found that the punishments, depending on the person, were different according to what drug they used. So crack cocaine had a 5-year maximum sentence that someone could get.
Yikes.
If they were in possession of it and convicted. And miraculously, for the same exact chemical makeup, maybe slight little differences in what was in it, and that you sniffed instead, then you may have gotten a max of a 6-month sentence.
Slap on the wrist.
And oftentimes, judges would look at the person in front of them who was affluent and had, their lawyer next to them, and upstanding citizen, and you have a future. So they wouldn't even do the 6 months, go to rehab. would be the punishment. It would be a court-mandated rehab, as opposed to someone who had no money, a court-appointed lawyer, and, well,
Yep.
you're just a bad person, so you're going to get 5 years. So these are real things that happen, and the result of that can influence someone's thought pattern about how the system is unfair, which before we had the civil rights laws on the books, yes, it was. We're not going to hide from the history. We know. So Derek Bell and some other Harvard law professors put together all the statistics of what I explained. So those weren't the only laws and policies that, you know, a lawmaker would say, okay, I'm making this law, it's illegal to do this, and it affects people across the board. Well, no. So another example would be if I only wear dresses and the law says you can now only wear capris and dresses, that means everybody that wear pants is now a criminal.
That's a lot of criminals, I'm just saying.
That's a lot of criminals.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't do it across the board. It's not a fairness. There's not an equivalency, because if you have some people that wear dresses, some people that wore capris anyway, and all the people that decided to wear pants are now criminal for what they're doing, that is a policy that doesn't really serve the American people equally. And that was the source of why the critical race theory got developed, is that they were discovering all of these laws in place that were intended on purpose to design to affect one people over another. So the subject matter in itself was to expose and help fix issues that we still have to work on.
Right.
But then people kind of took this pack of knowledge, which is a book you can buy on Amazon. The Critical Race Theory is on Amazon for $15.
15.
And decided to do something else with it. And I'm just like, what? Why do people go here? Why is this the answer?
Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about those conclusions when we come back from this brief commercial break, guys, because as you've likely heard the whirlwind yourself, you know, watching the news, hearing different things, whether on the internet or on television, you're probably wondering, wait, what? Like, what is happening and why is it happening? So we're going to, on the other side of this break, we're going to come back and talk about what those conclusions are and why they're both wrong. Now you know what critical race theory was intended to be, what it began as, and now we're going to talk about the reaction. So stay tuned. We will be right back.
We wanted to move back home to be closer to his family. We decided to go with pods because things were stressful enough.
We weren't sure how long we were going to need storage for, so we needed something that was flexible, and then they can deliver the container to wherever we move to.
We haven't found the perfect house yet, but we're still looking.
All right, guys, welcome back to Let's Clarify. So very quickly, before we get into those two conclusions, we did want to kind of share that update. We have, you know, the bit of footage you guys likely heard if you're in the state of Florida about this decision by Governor Ron DeSantis to decide to go ahead and ban that from schools here in the state of Florida. So we're going to play that clip for you guys very quickly. Check this out.
Described it this way earlier today.
They're trying to make people view each other based on race. I want to do the opposite. I want to treat people as individuals. I want to treat people based on character. But when you put this curriculum in, it ends up creating more divisions. Let me be clear. There's no room in our classrooms for things like critical race theory. Teaching kids to hate their country and to hate each other is not worth 1 red cent of taxpayer money.
All right. So that was what the governor decided to do in terms of here, like dealing with critical race theory here in schools in Florida. So yeah, let's talk about, you know, that sort of those two kind of extreme conclusions, Angel.
So the two things, and one led into the other. For those that want to advocate for equality, which is a noble gesture, if you're not taking it serious, because I have to call it a gesture, if you're not actually deep diving and actually doing action items that actually help people. What's been happening is that some educators who have may or may not actually done any community outreach or whatever, they haven't actually done anything, they use the critical race theory and come to the conclusion that all systems, meaning the structures and laws in this country, are racist. And therefore, in conclusion to that all white people are racist. No. That is the biggest fat no ever. There's no absolutes in life. There's no absolutes. That's anyway, so those same people, you know, instead of teaching math, are going around and going to little kids in elementary school and pointing to them, you're Caucasian, so you're racist. Literally. And this is so abusive. And I understand the absolute outrage these parents have, because I don't want anyone next to my kid and then the teachers pointing to them because they're a different, you know, if they're Caucasian, they're racist and they're doing things. Kids have to be taught that, for one. Right. They have to be taught it. So if the only person teaching them about it is the teacher, yeah, you need to go somewhere. Okay? Not be around kids. So out of that, there seems to be this whole movement of people that are automatically just calling everything racist. No, we have things to work on, but that's not the answer. That is definitely not the answer. So I understand where a lot of, you know, parents and Republicans are taking up the mantle, like, no, everything is not racist. That white people aren't just generally racist. There are people that choose to be, there are biases, but we have to address things as we find them. For example, like I said earlier about the differences between the crack cocaine and cocaine as a powder, when we find the problem, then we need to attack the actual problem, which it was addressed, and now both versions of the same chemical compound are 5 years.
Right.
So that result of whatever was now turned into people throwing away the whole critical race theory altogether, which is also a mistake, because it's
I agree.
decades of research identifying issues that we still need to work on. So pretending something isn't there also doesn't fix anything.
Exactly.
So like I said, absolutes, no matter what side of variation you're on, isn't a thing. So you can't say that the country doesn't have racial issues. That's a lie. You know, we can see quite plainly when some banks will not lend to certain people.
Redlining. That is a thing.
Or that, you know, certain people can't get a job somewhere.
That's still a thing.
Not that they're not qualified, because, you know, they do the hard work and have the education, but maybe their name is hard to pronounce.
That's a whole other conversation.
Well, and it's part of the research, right?
Yeah.
So we have a lot of things to work on, you know. Even though the laws are a lot more fair than they were before 1965, what we're not addressing in this country is that the individual with power, if they are racist, then everything that they're in control of becomes tainted. That's what we need to address.
Exactly.
You can't remove how someone's heart is by legislation. That's something that Martin Luther King said. Like, you can't legislate hate out of someone's heart.
Right.
That's a conversation we all have to have and work together with people so that they are moved and inspired to do better tomorrow than they're doing today.
Absolutely. Very true on that. Very true on that. So, of course, y'all, you know, we like to wrap up the show with our call to action, which we will bring you on the other side of this commercial break. All right. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I'm not picking it up. You pick it up.
I'm not picking it up.
Well, somebody's got to pick it up.
I'll pick it up. They're clean. 'Cause my hand is clean. Oh yeah, I'm Charmin clean. That's how I know they're clean.
Charmin Ultra Strong is woven like a washcloth and just cleans better.
Yeah, I'm Charmin
The
clean.
kid does have a
That's
point.
My hand is clean. Yeah.
Enjoy the go with Charmin. And for an extra clean finish, try Charmin Flushable Wipes.
And we are back. We are wrapping up this edition of Let's Clarify. And of course, we like to leave you guys with action. First, we break down the knowledge to you, give you a little bit of extra info, and then we like to give you guys the action steps. So, Angel, take it away.
So first, we don't want to have a knee-jerk reaction to something. When we're passionate and we are embedded, whether by beliefs, by our family, protecting, those that we love, we don't want to get into riding the emotion of shock and anger as that's going to drive what I do next. We really want to calm ourselves after that initial, however emotion comes, and really do our research. What has been happening in this country, and it's been going on in Congress and in legislative places around the country, is they got this 180 bandwagon. So if somebody raises their hand, hey, I'm on the blue team, the sky's blue, then the person opposing them is, no, the sky is red. We're red. Hello, can we have an original thought? How about we do a little research and find out what they're talking about? Because they could be wrong, or it could be just another way of doing the same thing. We have highways and byways, and we all can get to Tallahassee. We don't all have to get on the same road to get there, right?
Right. Exactly. So simply put,
yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, it's all below.
No 180 bandwagons. Can we go burn those? Can we, dismantle those and put them in the fireplace? Because the 180 bandwagon is the problem. We're just trying to do the opposite of the person we think we don't like, who we don't talk to. So how do you know you don't like them?
That part.
Oh, they're on the opposing team. Really? Are we Americans? Can we go there? Are we Americans? Can we be Americans? Can we work together? Can we do that? Can we get some education? Like I said, the Critical Race Theory is $15 book. It's research on what really exists on problems. And theory is just that. I've got statistics. This is what I've observed. This is my idea. Yeah. That's it. It's an idea. Now, if somebody has a bad idea out of it, why don't you just shut them person up? Can we just tell them to go sit down?
Exactly.
Just tell them to go sit down. Or tell them to not share their personal beliefs with my children. You tell them that.
Yeah, and then there's that. So I mean, to what we were talking about before in terms of a teacher or anybody who is propagating the wrong conclusion, you know, like all white folks are racist. Like, no. So, like, in my opinion, if this is something that's going to be in schools across the country, then
it is already. That's it.
Like, right. So my thing is, okay, then let's make sure the teachers are properly equipped to teach this thing, because it's not okay for them to be putting across an idea like that to the kids, because the kids are easily influenced, and then they bring that stuff back home.
Yeah,
they bring that, or they internalize it, and then you produce more troublesome teens or more troublesome adults in the future if you end up, like, essentially on the white end, you're doing what Black folks have been suffering from anyway. Like, essentially,
we don't want that. Nobody said to do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, we're not asking to flip it.
Don't do that.
We're not asking to flip it. But yeah, like, that's the other action step. Like, that's a bonus action step that I would propose. Like, schools, like, make sure your teachers are properly equipped to teach this thing
and keep their personal opinions to themselves.
Precisely.
You know what? Don't do it. Don't be harming these babies out here.
You know what I'm saying? And if there's any teacher that's uncomfortable with it, find another teacher, because there's that too. Like, there might be a teacher that may have misgivings about being assigned to teach the course. Make sure you hire somebody that is, like, okay with teaching it, like, knows the necessary information about it, has done the homework, so that they're giving the students the proper information.
And the thing is, critical race theory is a tool. That the knee-jerk reaction, oh, we got to get rid of that. Okay, well, they say that about guns. Ain't nobody trying to, yeah. Same argument. Don't do it. Why don't y'all read it? Educate yourself about it. Come to your own conclusion. There is a solution in the middle that appeases everybody, and most of it is teachers don't need to have their personal opinions on no babies. Teaching babies that they are racist and all this other nonsense. That is not your place. Oh boy, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, I'm right there with those parents that they don't need to be taught that they're somehow inherently racist. That's ridiculous. You have to be taught that. That doesn't come out of nature. That's a social construct from parents or caregivers.
Yeah, kids learn that. And there's no better example than that one video that went viral. The two little kids, like the black boy and the white boy,
all day long. You can see that in every park across America. Come on,
every park. You know what I mean? It is taught. So hopefully you guys found this conversation valuable, especially that first part where we broke it all the way down to what it actually is versus what everybody thinks about it. But whichever side you're on, let us know. Leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to, have you join the conversation. If you haven't already, be sure to like, share, subscribe, follow, all that fun stuff. You can find us at Florida National News on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. A couple of our other channels on Facebook are a couple of our other pages, are FNN News TV and FNN News Live. And when you're on YouTube, be sure to click the subscribe button as well as the bell so that you get all the notifications on all of our shows. And on Instagram, if you want to ask Angel a question, you can hit her up at A for Amazing. She'll be glad to answer your questions over there as well. And as you guys see, we always run ads on our show. So if you're someone who is a small business owner and you want to promote your business, or you'd like to sponsor one of our segments, just shoot us an email at ads@floridanationalnews.com. We'd love to have that conversation with you. In the meantime, thank you, Angel, and thank you guys out there for tuning in every week and watching with us. You guys have a great rest of your day. Continue to stay safe. The pandemic is still out there. Fortunately, things are starting to turn a corner, but stay safe. Continue to follow the guidelines. Until then, we'll see you next week. Take care.